Welcome to the Performance Intelligence Podcast, and a beautiful opportunity to spend time in New York, if you didn't guess by the background. And I'm joined by a very good friend of mine, Sebastian Bea, who's just taken on a new role at a new company. Please, could you tell me what it is and what it does?
Sure. ReserveOne is a new company that is expected to list on NASDAQ in Q4 in a $1 billion transaction under the ticker RONE,
Nice.
or RONE.
Yeah.
And what is ReserveOne? It is a diversified digital asset treasury. So the intention there is to own not just one asset like Bitcoin or Ethereum, but a basket of these crypto assets for our shareholders.
You've had quite an interesting career journey in life. You started after coming out of university in rowing for the US Olympic team, winning a silver medal in rowing in Sydney in the 2000 Olympics. And you've done many other things after that in all sorts of financial world industries. But as you think back through your life and career of both sport and business, when you think of high performance, what's the thing that comes to mind for you?
I think what works in finance works in the boat, to be totally honest. When you are on a rowing team, what you learn relatively quickly is that big gains take a long time. And those gains come through, good plan, but just execution and concerted effort. And there's no magic to it. To get better, it just takes time. And if you fuss around and you argue and you fight and you're not on the same plan and your training's crap, then you know where you're going to end up. What you learned in the boat also is that you had to work effectively with your teammates, right? And if you are expressing your frustration and complaining and you're one of 8 people, well, that type of thing can really build up and it can really drag an entire team down, whether it's in the boat or in a business. So most of what I learned on the Cal Crew team or on the US Olympic team translates directly to business, because in the end of the day, it's not really that complicated. We're trying to create a great outcome, but it takes a lot of good planning and a lot of hard work and being a good teammate.
So when you think of the best teams you've been on, whether it be business or sports, what are the characteristics of the players that you run alongside, whether it's sport or business?
At the highest level, the best teams generally had people that were curious about the thing that they were doing, that really were into it, that really enjoyed doing it and enjoyed doing that thing with others on the same team. Whether it was my early days at CSOB in San Francisco when we had this all-star team across our equity derivatives team and the equity sales team and equity trading, to when I was in the boat with Ted Murphy, who is a mutual friend of ours, where we were always really curious and into the thing we were doing, into that sport, and we're good teammates along the way. You need to have teammates that are as interested and as motivated and as competitive as you are, and they're not afraid of a little competition, not afraid of a little transparency. The teams that have those people and those conditions generally tend to just have great outcomes, because good behavior builds on good behavior, right? And you don't have to really push people when you're surrounded by good people. The presence of other great teammates makes you a better athlete and makes you a better employee in a financial company.
So you mentioned curiosity. What's the sort of flavor of curiosity that you've seen play out being hugely beneficial to people?
Our time on the earth is short. And if you are doing something for money, but you're not actually interested in what you're doing, like, you have no chance of being competitive, right? You need to be innately curious and interested about the thing that you are doing, because there's no amount of money that's going to keep you focused and iterating and innovating in whatever you happen to be doing, as compared to if you're just really into it, right? Yeah. You need to be doing something that you would do for free, right? But you obviously don't want to do it for free. Yeah. But to be great, I think you really have to be truly captivated by that task, that goal, that purpose that you have in your job and your firm. If you're not captivated by the purpose, then you're just not going to be that motivated. It doesn't matter how much someone tells you they're going to pay you.
Now, it's obviously quite hard. Everything you've chosen to do, you've been very motivated to do and been very successful at. But to sort of the man on the street and the woman on the street who's grappling with their work and their role, what advice would you give to them about this curiosity and this desire to be around better people who are producing better outcomes?
If you want to change your circumstance, you need to do something that is innately better than what you were doing today. I think that people get in a rut oftentimes because they are copying other people and what they think to be the right path or the right thing to do. And the problem with copying is that, well, you didn't come up with it to begin with. Whatever you tried to do to emulate something else you see might not be that good. It might be an okay copy, right? And you're doing it after someone else did it, right?
Yeah.
So you're behind the curve, irrespective. So someone's trying to change their situation. The reason curiosity matters is curiosity gets you further out the path of like what's possible in whatever industry you're talking about, whether it's, collecting the garbage to, making coffee to whatever it might be. And I think if people want to change their circumstance, it has to start with themselves. Instead of saying, well, what is the right path? It's more to do with what interests you and what can you add to that industry or to that product that just doesn't exist, right? That's where people have game-changing sort of situations where they say, well, I was at a bar and they just didn't serve beer the right way. And then you find a guy created a whole business around properly measuring, pouring of alcohol. And that was a fantastic thing. I mean, there's a lot of examples, but all of this in the end comes from, curiosity and trying to add your extra element on something. And you can't copy that from somebody else.
Yeah, I met a lady the other day on a plane, and she's going to come on the podcast as well. And she's the operations manager at an airport, and that's that curiosity when they're faced with hostility every day from irate customers who are traveling around and demanding when's it going to stop snowing and things like that. Things way outside their areas of control, obviously. But I think that curiosity is the piece that keeps us alive and fresh and on that edge for performance.
Also, her ability to have patience. That's probably something I could use. that sounds like a brutal job.
Maybe we should get your wife on as well. We'll do a podcast with her.
Too funny.
What would your one bit of advice to people be in whatever situation they find themselves in about how to really strive for real high performance and ultimate success for themselves?
Well, I'd say two things. One, don't get down on yourself, because if you're down on yourself, you're going to just drag yourself down, right? So if you don't like where you're at, fine, okay, but don't make that realization be something that then kicks off a whole set of activities and behaviors that just drag you down further, right?
Yeah.
It's okay to say, I don't like where I'm at. We've all been there, right? But then from there, what you need to do is also raise the bar for yourself. Whatever the standard is, just take it up a notch. Right now I have a challenge to myself to reach out to people that I'm a little afraid to reach out to. Just say, well, I haven't talked to them in a while, but if I have something useful to say, or I think they might be willing to kind of meet with me, I'm just challenging myself to where I'm a little bit nervous to just go and do it. Why? Because I might have something for them, they might have something for me, and by me not doing it because I'm nervous, I'm just keeping myself in the box.
And they might actually want to see you because you're a good person.
There's all sorts of things that come from it. And the number one thing is to recognize where you're at and then challenge yourself to that point of being slightly uncomfortable, and then just stay in that discomfort, whatever it is. And that's true for business or even for workouts. Yeah. Don't do the same workout. If you're unhappy with your current state of your physical condition, well, that's fine. Almost everyone is in that situation. But the wrong decision is then to do the same thing you have been doing, right?
Definition of insanity.
Yeah. It's important to just do something that's slightly hard relative to what you've been doing. You don't have to shoot for the moon. But if you consistently do it, back to our prior topic of, what'd you learn from sport? If you consistently put yourself in a slight area of discomfort, you're actually making progress, exactly. Right? And that's the only goal really you can have. You can't have a goal like an outcome. Your goal should be progress. And if you're making progress every day, you'll be fine wherever you end up.
Yeah, that's great. And that's that piece around just keep pushing yourself and encouraging yourself to do it, because that's where the greatest gains come. Thank you so much for today. And as we think about a conversation just then, remember, be better, do better, demand better. Let's go.